Good afternoon, Professor. My name is Lily Cabrales, and today I'll be talking about climate change. Climate change will be affecting our lives and the generations after us if we don't make changes today. Due to the rise in sea levels, heat waves, and air pollution, because of climate change, the government needs to switch to renewable energy sources. Before we talk about why climate change is occurring or what we can do to stop it, it is important to understand climate change more in depth. Rise in sea levels. According to NASA, start quote, global sea levels has risen by about 8 inches since 1880. It is projected to rise another 1 to 8 feet by 2100. This is a result of added water from melting land ice and the expansion of seawater as it warms. 8 feet does not seem much. However, 8 feet of water being risen worldwide is a lot of ice being melted away. Where is the water melted coming from? The water is coming from the melting glaciers and sea ice from the polar ice caps, with the melting ice not only affecting sea levels, but also melting away the homes and habitats of marine biology. According to Green Facts, polar bears, seals, and walruses are examples of marine biology affected by climate change. Heat waves. According to NASA, droughts in the southwest and heat waves, periods of abnormally hot weather lasting days to weeks, everywhere are projected to become more intense, and cold waves less intense everywhere. Since there will be more droughts and heat waves over a long period of time, that means that there will be a shortage of water, a human necessity. This also means that the summer session will lengthen over time. As if it wasn't hot enough, it's going to be even hotter. Air pollution. According to the NRDC, smog and soot are the most prevalent types of air pollution. The tiniest airborne particles in soot, whether they're in the form of gas or solids, are especially dangerous because they can penetrate the lungs and bloodstream and worsen bronchitis. They can also lead to heart attacks and even hasten death. Since the combustion of fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide into the air, it causes a pollution in the air. Meaning, when a car is left running or when an industrial machine using coal or fuel as energy, it will worsen the air quality in the area, which in turn it will affect the health of the residents breathing in that air. Climate change is not only affecting the environment around people, but also affecting the health of people as well. Now that we know a little bit about climate change, it is important to understand why climate change is occurring. How did climate change come about? First, one needs to understand the greenhouse effect. According to NASA's greenhouse effect graphic, the sun radiates sunlight onto the earth. The earth sends some energy back into space. However, some energy is absorbed and re-radiated as heat. Most of the heat absorbed is by greenhouse gases and then radiated in all directions, warming the earth. Carbon dioxide, CO2, is one of the leading greenhouse gases. Since greenhouse gases are blocking heat from escaping, they act as a blanket, covering and warming the earth all around. Thus, CO2 emissions into the air is causing global warming. Who is responsible for this problem? According to USGS, ever since the Industrial Revolution, there have been increasing amounts of CO2 emissions into the air. Since machines being used during the Industrial Revolution were fueled by coal and gases, CO2 is being released into the air through combustion. However, the Industrial Revolution is not the only one to blame. Ever since the boom of new technologies and machines, the vast majority of machinery is still using gases. Modern examples include the very cars people drive today that run on gas. I could go on all day telling you about climate change, but if I don't tell you what you can do to solve it, then what's the point of me talking about this? Many scientists are collaborating with engineers to design and build new renewable energy alternatives. Such examples include wind power, solar power, and hydropower. However, these new innovative and alternative energy solutions need to be approved by the federal government to start using them completely over the old-fashioned coal and gas. This can only be done when you, the voter, vote for renewable energy sources. Let's vote for officials who acknowledge that climate change is occurring. Renewable energy sources can only be implemented when most of the people vote for it. Thus, it is very important to talk about issues such as climate change and how you, the voter, can make your voice heard through your vote. Additionally, I believe it is important that I discuss this because college students at CSUN and in universities across the country believe that climate change is a pressing issue that should have been addressed in government yesterday. Climate change causes a rise in sea levels, heat waves, and air pollution, which is why the government needs to switch to renewable energy sources to stop CO2 emissions. One saw the rise in sea levels equals the loss of homes and habitats. One saw that the rise in heat waves and drought will create a water shortage and lengthen summer time. Finally, one saw that air pollution can negatively affect the health of residents living near high CO2 emissions. Don't be the reason why a polar bear died because his home was melted away. Thank you.